Hello everyone, my name is Noel and today I want to talk a little bit about my favourite weapon thus far in Star Wars Battlefront II. Now before we begin, if you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for not only Battlefront 2 content, but also anything and everything related to Star Wars Episode 8 The Last Jedi as we prepare for that massive December 15 release date. So having played Battlefront 2 a little earlier than most other people, I'm sure you know what I mean by that, and also since the game's been out for a couple weeks now, I've managed to get my hands on most weapons, and I've managed to formulate, in my opinion, which is the best weapon. Now of course, you know, when it comes to personal opinions, there's going to be people that disagree, there's going to be people that agree, but will also hate me for stating this weapon because, well, first of all, it's not technically a weapon. I mean, it is a weapon, it goes pew pew, but it's actually an ability, and that ability is the Vanguard. So the Vanguard, as you all know, it's basically a shotgun, this tactical shotgun that you just fire out at any point and you can zip around the map and basically annoy the other team because, now, you know, it obviously has its limitations. For example, it's short range, so if you're wanting to use this on Galactic Assault and you're wanting to try and snipe people from across the map, then you're doing everything wrong there and you should just quit the game immediately and reevaluate your life decisions. That was a bit harsh. That was a bit, yeah. I might keep that in though. But yeah, obviously you can't use it for long range attacks. And obviously if the player you're coming up against has full health and you're trying to shoot them in the kneecap, then they're not going to die. You know, it's going to be quite a few hits if you're not shooting them directly in the chest or in the head. But if you do the exact opposite of what everything I just said, if they have somewhat diminished health, if you're using it very close range, then you basically need to just turn the corner, shoot them in the chest or the head area, and they're dead. And you can rack up an absolute ton of kills by doing this and annoy and frustrate the opposition, because plenty of times I've been subject to someone using this and it can get quite annoying, as I've previously mentioned. And I don't know if you'd want to call us noob players that use this. I don't know if this is the equivalent to using like a noob tube on Call of Duty or something, if that's that kind of level, if it's maybe sort of shunned as like, ha, amateurs. Was that an American? I guess that's my American accent. But yeah, I don't know if people necessarily think noob as soon as they see this, but it can get you out of a pickle. It really can. And as I said, it can rack you up a ton of kills, just as you're seeing it in these gameplay clips alone. However, sometimes you can feel a bit cocky with it, and then you could run head first into a swarm of enemies and just die. You know Han Solo episode 4 where he chases the stormtroopers and it comes across a whole battalion of them on the Death Star and he's like, I better start running. That's exactly what can happen sometimes. And also, a few times I've used this weapon and tried chasing down a super battle droid, and then the super battle droid's like, you know what, I'm actually more powerful than you, and then he just turns around and kills you. So there can be a few problems like that, but as I said, this is a weapon that it's my go-to ability essentially, and it gets me a ton of kills. I was actually also going to mention, this video is sort of going to be a toss-up between one of two weapons and sort of two abilities. Of course, everything I've been talking about is the assault class, but also like the heavy class, when you're carrying around that massive machine gun, that massive blaster, and you pop up the shield and you're just mowing down everyone in sight. That is also a fantastic ability. But do let me know in the comments below if you agree, if you also think the Vanguard is incredible, or if you think it's a bit newbie. We'll have a massive discussion in the comments below. And also, what is your favourite weapon thus far in Star Wars Battlefront 2? And what are some of your favourite abilities? And until next time, I've been Noel, and I'll see you very soon.